it's a darling apartment.
Thank you.
Just darling. Did you do it yourself?
Me? Yes. I did, yes.
Yourself?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Well, it's just darling. Did you really do it yourself?
Yes. Why? Did you hear I didn't?
No. Oh, but look at this. This is just precious.
Huh, it is, isn't it? Look at that. I've never really looked at it. I just live here.
Well, it's terribly clever. I mean, look how nicely all the furniture's placed in little areas. To make it so warm and sweet and tucked in.
How about that?
And the colors, they're so simple and relaxing and masculine.
See that?
Well, isn't that tasteful and interesting?
Yes, I'll take it! I mean, I like my apartment, but I'm not really in it much. I just can go from the living room on my way to the bedroom to then go into the bathroom to get ready to go out again.
So you never really spend any time here. And it's so dear. But maybe that's why you like it so much. Because if you never spend any time in it, then it keeps it special and important.
Yes. Oh my God. And this is the bedroom over here. Huh. You love it, I can tell. Well, don't worry, maybe I can find another place. Oh yeah. Yes.
Darling.
Yes?
Robert.
What?
I worry.
Why?
He's all alone. There's no one.
Where?
In his life.
Oh.
Robert ought to have a woman. Poor baby, all alone. Evening after evening by the telephone. We're the only tenderness he's ever known.
Yes?
Bobby,
What?
I worry.
Why?
It's such a waste. There's no one.
Where?
In his life.
Oh.
Bobby ought to have a woman. Poor baby sitting there, staring at the walls and playing solitaire, making conversation with the empty air. Poor baby.
Right after I became a flight attendant, a friend of mine who had a garden apartment gave me a cocoon for my bedroom. He collected things like that, insects and caterpillars and all that. He said one day I would wake up to a beautiful butterfly in my bedroom. He said that when they come out, they're soaking wet and there's a little spot of blood there too. Isn't that fascinating?
Uh-huh.
And then within an hour, they dry off and they begin to fly. Well, I told him I had a cat. Because I had a cat back then. And he said, we'll just put the cocoon where the cat can't get to it. Which is impossible. But what are you gonna do? So I put it where the cat never really went, on this ledge. And the next morning it was still there, so it seemed safe to leave it there. Anyway, maybe a week later, very, very early in the morning, this guy calls and he says, April, do you have a butterfly this morning? And I managed to get up, and I look up on this ledge, and there's a wet spot and a little speck of blood. But no butterfly. And I thought, oh dear God in heaven, the cat got it. And I go to pick up the phone to tell this guy, and just then suddenly I see it under the dressing table, and it's moving one little wing. So the cat got it, but it wasn't dead. And I tell the guy, and he gets so upset. And he said, oh no, oh God, don't you see that's a life, a living thing? So I get dressed, and I take it to the park, and I put it on a rose. It was summer then. And it looked like it was gonna be all right. I think, anyway. But that man, I felt so damaged by him. Just awful. I mean, that was just cruel. And I went back home and I called him back. And I said, you know, I'm a living thing too, you shithead. And I never saw him again.
That reminds me of something I did to someone once in Miami. It's not really the same, but in a way, you'll see. I met a girl, a lovely girl, at a party one night, and it was very much like you and me, April. We just connected. You don't mind that I'm telling you this, do you?
No.
It just came into my mind. Anyway, we just connected in such a beautiful way. Exactly like tonight, except we couldn't contain ourselves. It was incredible. We were just talking, and then suddenly we just could not talk anymore. No sounds came. We stared at each other, and sweat was pouring down our faces, and our breath was so short, and our legs were trembling, and we just left. We drove to one of those strips where they have all those motels, and we got inside that room, and we started touching and kissing and laughing and holding, and then suddenly she said I should go get a lot of champagne and some baby oil, and we should get beautifully high and then rub, well, you know. She said she'd be in bed waiting for me. So I rushed out of there, jumped in my car, drove around until I could find a drugstore and a liquor store that were open. I got all of the baby oil, all of the champagne, and finally I started back to her motel, and I could not find it. Three hours I looked for that motel. I never found it. And I never saw her again either.
That is the most extraordinary story I've ever heard.
I know, it is.
And that poor girl.
Oh, ooh, yeah.
And you drove around for 3 hours?
More. All night long I drove around trying to find that motel. I mean, all night. with the oil and the champagne and my hands trembling and sweat pouring down my face.
And that girl, she never knew. Well, I just don't know what to say or do. That's so sad.
I know. It is very.
Robert, those stories don't follow. I don't see the connection. Oh. Unless you thought of that poor girl as the wounded butterfly.
Yes, that's it.